And then we're going to move along to the tabs at the top. So the next tab is restrictions, and we definitely want to make our status active, which means that students can indeed see this quiz, and then we can set dates, start dates and end dates for the quiz and display it on the calendar. So in our case, we want to set it up for tomorrow to begin at 11 a.m. and then have an end date of the 1st, and set that also up for 11 a.m., which are kind of random times. And we could choose to display these times in the calendar. Now that we've set up that start date and end date, students will be able to click on the quiz inside of the content area, which we will get to adding in a bit. And when they do it within that time frame, when they do click on it and start it and begin it, we will be able to set the time limit down below for how much time they have. There's also additional release conditions, and these are when you would like students to complete an activity before they are allowed to see and take this quiz. So that might be maybe posting to a discussion forum or submitting their project assignment. Down below we also have advanced restrictions. Usually this is collapsed. We're going to go ahead and click expand just to look at these. You can make this quiz password protected, so students have to enter in a password before they could take it, or an IP restriction in case you'd want students only to complete this on campus. There's also a time limit that I mentioned earlier. You can set this up for however long you'd like to set it up for. In our case, we're not going to have a very long quiz, so we're going to make it 30 minutes. And you can choose to enforce and show the clock if you'd like to. Now note, you can show the clock and not enforce it, but if you enforce it, you have to show the clock. You can have a grace period, meaning students will be able to submit it and still continue to work on it 5 minutes past that 30-minute time limit. Also, late submissions allow the normal submission after that 35 with the grace period minutes. Use a late limit of 1 minute, so that would notify you that it is late. And also auto submit attempt. So that means even if it's not complete, it would be submitted after that 30 minutes. I would say I'm going to go with the auto submit, but you can choose to have students click to submit it on their own. The reason why I'm going to select auto submit is so that there are no quizzes left hanging. And you would be able to see these attempts, but the thing is because it shuts off their email, students would continue to receive an error message, and if this wasn't checked, and they would have to come back in to actually submit it. But if it closes at that end date, they're not going to be able to get back in. So that is the case with the auto submit. I'm going to do that just to make things easier on myself and the students. And advanced availability allow users special access to the quiz. In case you get a letter from the DSS office, this is how you would go ahead and add users to that special access. So we can allow only users with special access to see this quiz, or allow selected users special access to this quiz. So in our case, if we receive this letter, then we would go ahead and add users to special access. And what we can do is select a user. I'm just scrolling down. These are all of the individuals who are in my course, and I could select the individual, and then I can go up to the top and I can give them that special access. So in my case, I'm going to allow the individual double time, make it enforced, and just leave the rest as is. And then I can go ahead and add special access. And we can see that individual has been added down below. Now I just want to go back to my settings, because I did notice that when I did click that some of these items were wiped out up here. So I'm going to go back and just reset those dates that are there, and then reset the time limit to be 30 minutes. And that's all that I had. Oh, an auto submit attempt. So now I want to go ahead and click save. So maybe before I did advanced availability, I should have clicked save. And then I want to head on over to attempts up at the top. And I can set it up so that students only have one attempt. And then if I have them submitting more, if they were allowed to, then I could do an overall grade calculation. But in my case, I will select 2, and I will have D2L keep the highest attempt score. Of course, there's lowest, average of all attempts, first and last attempt. I'm going to keep the highest. And then click Save and move along. Objectives, our next tab. And this is an area in which we are going to offer more trainings and tutorials on in a bit. Submission views. Do you want your students to be able to see your submission or their submissions, and how much do you want them to be able to see? So right now the default is to show the information immediately, not show the questions, just show them what they got wrong or right, and also no statistics. You can choose to add additional views if you would like to. In my case, I'm just going to move along to reports. So I do want to, in my case, set up a report. I'm going to go ahead and add a report. And I'm just going to call this, just taking a look at what are options here. User statistics, user attempts, attempt details, question details, and I'm just going to call this quiz number 1. I'm going to have it track one, or you have to select one of these things. Do I want the quiz details, display difficulty, text responses? Do I want the quiz statistics, class average, score, bonus, show out of values, user statistics, class average, score distribution, attempt details, or user attempts? In my case, I'm going to select user attempts. If you had a question about any one of these items here, which ones to select, and note you can set up more than one report type. The clicking on this little question mark brings up a dialog box that looks like this. So it'll give you more information about that particular item. And when would you like to release it, and who would you like to release it to? So in my case, I only want myself to see these reports, and so I'm just going to select instructor, and then anyone who's loaded in as an instructor in your course would be able to see it. So I'll click Save. And then I'll be able to pull that report once I do have a few submissions. So I do have the report set up there. I can move along to layout and questions.